The team we're going to put here on first, Clemson, Georgia. Georgia per bet online is a minus 13.5 points ahead of Clemson here pre. I'll tell you one thing. Alex said that's a little violent, Bryce. I'm feeling a little violent. If you haven't been tuned in the past week, I don't resort to violence
Last Wednesday, he got a little violent.
I got a little violent last Wednesday. And shared on the message boards. So Clemson, Georgia. Georgia's a 13.5 point favorite. Will, you're going to be in the building for this one. You're double dipping on Saturday, which is just a dream of anybody. But
not watching my team. So,
but do you need to?
How good is it really?
Do you need to? I don't know if you need to. Will does. But Georgia's 13.5 point favorite here. Look, when we look at this game, I think that I'm almost close to drinking the Kool-Aid that Georgia might just blow Clemson out of the water. I don't know why. I think Clemson's defense is very good. I also sat here a week ago and said that I thought Florida State's defense was very good. I do think Clemson has a little more proven talent in terms of guys on the defense. Offensively, though, a lot of it hinges on Cade Klubnik, and we'll see. Let's kind of kick it over to you, Will, first, because Clemson, Georgia, I know you've liked Clemson, and I think we did a prediction show kind of about a month ago, and I don't remember where you went with this one, but this will be interesting. This will be interesting to me because 13.5 points, 2-touchdown favorite for Georgia. If they cover that, that's pretty impressive against a team most people think is maybe now the leader in the ACC.
Yeah, so when we predicted this game a couple weeks ago, I had Georgia, and I'm going to stick with that. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout. This 13.5 point spread is interesting. I've got questions if Georgia can do that, mainly because of all the questions at the running back position coming into this game. There's a good chance Georgia's not going to have their top two running backs. The presumed starter, Trevor Etienne. That's the wrong one. I said the wrong one. Etienne from Florida. Trevor's playing for the Jaguars, right? I think I got them mixed up. But Etienne coming in from Florida.
No, Trevor Etienne plays for Georgia. Travis Etienne.
Okay, so I had it right.
Yeah,
look at that. I usually am not. I usually don't have the names right. Trevor Etienne, the presumed starter. A lot of question marks about his availability. Sounding like a suspension could be coming his way. Kirby Smart has not announced anything and has refused to really make any comments on that situation. So it's looking like Cash Jones, the fan favorite, the fourth string running back, might get the bulk of the carries in this game. So what does that mean against a really, really good Clemson front seven? I like Georgia in this game though, but getting to that 13.5 is going to be tight for Georgia. I think Carson Beck is the best quarterback in the country, at least coming into the season. And if Georgia can just keep him upright and give him time to throw, they should be able to win it and kind of do what they want against Clemson in this game.
Yeah, Roderick Robertson not going to play in this game either, Will, which you talked about the top two guys. I mean, that's going to be something that, we'll see how that works. But I will sit with this. I'm gonna go opposite. I think that they might kill Clemson. I don't know what it is. I think Carson Beck's a guy that could find himself in. Well, obviously we know why I'm saying that because I'm a Georgia fan. But I think Carson Beck could begin a potential march to New York with a performance like this. Outside of Stetson Bennett, Georgia hasn't really had a playmaker at the quarterback position. They've had good players at the quarterback position, really probably since Aaron Murray. I think that's safe to say. I mean, Jake Fromm was really good.
Matthew Stafford.
Well, Matthew Stafford played in 2007 and 2008.
Right, but you
don't think Aaron Murray's a playmaker.
No.
I mean, he did lead the SEC in passing yards and touchdowns for a long time, but he was a good football player. They've had good players. I think Carson Beck can be a guy that sees his name in the first 5 picks of the NFL draft. And I think that will kind of start here. I think they're going to be able to do a lot of things through the air that maybe we don't see. I just think they're going to be able to be balanced. And, I'm gonna go back to last Saturday. Like we saw when a team can't run the ball and they also really can't pass, it gets ugly quick. I think that if Georgia does struggle to run the ball a little bit, that I think they're more well equipped to pass the ball. I think the tight end position is going to be something that's going to be interesting to watch in Athens. I mean, Oscar Delp is a dude. Is he Brock Bowers? No, probably a lot of people aren't Brock Bowers, but that's also kind of a unicorn type of player. But you mentioned just when you look at this team, I think they're well balanced. Ralph loves him some Cash Jones. He's a big fan of Cash Jones. But I'm excited. I think this could be a game where they maybe backdoor cover at a 13.5. So I'm taking Georgia to win this game. I just wonder, and it all comes down to for me, is Cade Klubnik a difference maker? Because it's going to be a crazy storyline, and you guys can pick up off this if you want to, and Ralph, you're next. But if Cade Klubnik isn't a guy that can be dynamic, then the ACC is going to be wide open this year. And so I think, I don't know, it's interesting. I think Georgia, I'll take Georgia to cover this one. Now, Dr. Bob, this is not our best bets, but I would take Georgia Tech, or I take Georgia to cover this one, not Georgia Tech. Tech's just always on my mind. But it's going to be interesting because if rent free, they're just living rent free in my head. It'll be interesting to watch. I think Georgia can win this game. I talked with someone today who covers this on a national level. I asked him what he thought. He said, I think, and this is kind of where I formed a little bit of the opinion, and I really started to look at it this afternoon. He goes, I think Georgia, it might drag Clemson like the stepchild that no one cares about through the mud this game. He said, I think this could be a game where it could get ugly. Clemson's defense holds for about a quarter and a half, maybe halftime, but the second half, it couldn't be close. And he even said that he thinks Gunnar Stockton could play in the fourth quarter, which would be crazy to think about. I think Georgia's going to be really good this year. I do have them covering this game. Is Cade Klubnik for real? Ralph, I know that's been a guy that you've been high on since out of high school. A lot of people have. Here now, it's your time to prove it in year two and first game of the season.
Yeah, so I've been high on Clemson, obviously, with just Klubnik because I think he's such a great athlete. His ceiling's really high, but last year, he wasn't bad. It's just they had no receivers. He had no help. Will Shipley and Phil Maffa had to do the majority of the work to help him out and win games. And mid-season Clemson looked just unbearably bad. They won games, but they just didn't win the way they wanted to. And then you saw like the second half of the season they had double overtime loss to Miami and a 7-point loss to NC State. They played the best games they could, but just couldn't finish those games. And so, after the NC State loss, they just kind of mowed through the rest of their schedule. They return a lot of good players offensively, defensively. I think they have one of the best linebackers in the country with Barrett Carter. I mean, he is a stud. I mean, he was a stud out of high school. When they signed him, they knew they had an absolute freak. He's a future first rounder in my opinion. I thought he always has been. TJ Parker on the outside, and he's from the area, man. He's a good player. He's a ball player. He's a great pass rush. I think Will said a while back that he's the leader. He's a returning leader in sacks for the team. I'm pretty sure. So,
yes, correct.
And he was only it was a freshman last year, I think.
Young player. He was still a young player. Yeah,
a young player, and he was leading the team in sacks. Coming into this year, so big year for him. Klubnik obviously has to step up. This has to be his year. But look, you're going against the best team in the country, in my opinion. I think Georgia's got the best returning roster right now with who they have. Obviously, you lose Brock Bowers, Lai McConkey. Kendall Milton's gone. I feel like he was there for 12 years. But you return Carson Beck. You return Oscar Delp, who is not Brock Bowers like Bryce said, but he's very good still. The running back room, you lose Kendall Milton, but you bring in Trevor Etienne. You have Branson Robinson. I think is he going to play, Bryce?
Yeah, it's going to be Branson Robinson, Nate Frazier, and Cash Jones are going to be the three running backs in the rotation, essentially.
Yeah, and Branson Robinson, we've been waiting for him for 3 years. Dude, there's a picture of him in spring practice his freshman year when he looked bigger than all the other running backs at school at the time.
Yeah.
Like, that picture is still insane to me. And then, Georgia's defense, that front seven, the front seven is unreal. I mean, Michael Williams, also from the area, super talented, had a great year last year. Nazir Stackhouse, he's been at Georgia for 10 years. You can't tell me wrong. Yes. Warren Benson, I feel, has also been there for 10 years. I feel like these guys I've seen on the back of a name or back of a jersey for the last 5 or 6 years. And Chaz Chambliss, who is a very underrated outside linebacker kind of player for them, he plays really well. He's a smart player. He's not he plays very technically sound, and that's kind of guy Kirby likes and puts him on his defense to work that out. So I'm really excited for that. And obviously the secondary, Julian Humphrey and Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks is a true freshman, was an absolute freak and a game changer.
Yeah.
And now we're in year 3 of Malachi Starks. I'm talking about this. This is the year he blows up and makes a name for himself and goes first round of the draft.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I mean, you just named some guys right there. I'll even throw this in here.
Whoa.
Dang, Ralph just left. So
lost him
completely. That's
completely
okay.
gone. Oh,
I think he accidentally hit the exit out button. Did you accidentally exit out?
I didn't even hit it. I guess, okay. I am using a new mouse, and there's a button on the side of the mouse that definitely did backspace. So figure that out today.
Well, I want to say this. I want to say this. You know, shame on you for discrediting Dylan Bell, the do-it-all guy for this Georgia team.
Why is he not the starting running back?
Because he's the starting X receiver. I mean, that's what the dude's a freak. He's really good.
I had the projected depth chart for the Our Lads on here, and I had it scrolled down where I had the just showing Z, so it was just Adam Smith at the top. I didn't see Dylan Bell's name. I'm like, where's Dylan Bell at? And I realized, oh wait, I have it too far up.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, it's going to be probably Dylan Bell. It's going to be Dominic Lovett. You're also going to see Arian Smith there. But don't forget about, I mean, this wide receiver room is still loaded. Even
and
after
London
Humphrey
Humphreys, Colby Young from Miami. They've got some dudes. So,
do you want some trends?
Some trends? Give me some trends real quick.
Some betting trends. If you're gonna bet,
Addie's picking here in a second.
First of all, do it responsibly. Second of all, do it at betonline.ag. That's where we're getting all of our lines, all of our numbers.
Yep.
The total has gone under in 4 of Georgia's last 6 games. Clemson is 4-1 against the spread in its last 5 games. Georgia is 4-2 against the spread in its last 6 games against Clemson. And Georgia is 8-0 overall in its last 8 games against the ACC. So,
wow.
Take what you will from that.
How many of those games are just just Georgia Tech though?
Oh God.
No, I'm serious though, because they only play Georgia
There's
Tech.
At least one every year.
So they played Clemson last time. What
2022?
Was that last time they played?
Yeah,
that was longer.
Opener in Charlotte.
That was a lot longer than that.
Here's one more, and this one kind of blows my mind. Clemson is 13-5 straight up in its last 18 games against SEC opposition.
A lot of those 5 losses are Georgia.
Yes.
I did have a question, Bryce, and I'm asking you because I think you may know better than me on this answer. Is Dan Jackson starting for Georgia this year?
Because I don't know.
Yeah,
Dan Jackson.
Just look behind you. Just right behind your head. That's all you need to show.
Dan Jackson, is he starting? I don't know.
They haven't projected to start. Well, I'm sorry. It's Dan Jackson. Then the backup would be KJ Bolton. So we might see KJ Bolton instead.
KJ Bolton's a freak too. Defensively, I think they're going to be really good. Smile Munden, CJ Allen, Jalen Walker, linebacker. They've just got some dudes. So we'll see. And look, I mean, talking about Clemson in all seriousness here, it really comes down to Cade Club. Now, I think offensive line, like they've got a good offensive line. I think the run game's going to be fine. I'm excited to see Phil Maffa kind of be more of a feature guy than he has just because Shipley's been there so much. But has the receiver, there's names in that receiver room. Has it really improved? Here's your first big data point against a defense that a lot of people say will probably be a top 10 unit in the country by the season's end. So I'm interested in that. Will, you have been high on the fact that it feels like Garrett Riley's a good enough play caller that in year 2, it's going to click. And that's kind of been something you've been talking about all offseason.
Yeah, I think that continuity is really underrated. A quarterback and offensive coordinator, a play caller coming back for a second year, but it's going to come down to that wide receiver room improving. They were really, really bad last year. It's hard for the quarterback to do anything when your receivers can't get open. There's only so much scheme you can do to scheme your guys open. If they still can't get open, you've got a really bad group. So I'm really interested. This is a tough task for them. I mean, Georgia's got a great secondary, so we may not see it in this one, but I think as the season goes along, I think we'll see a much improved Clemson offense.
Yeah, it's just so hard in week 1 for that to be able to click automatically.